and I have a 5 years experience in Salesforce. I too have worked in sales, service, and health clouds.
Okay. Now, now let's dive into the topic. So, as part of today's presentation, we are going to see the following topics: the introduction, entitlement process, its model, milestone, types of the milestone, and actions of the milestones, its limits and limitations. So, introduction. Entitlement Entitlement management is a future in sales service cloud, which is the best option to provide a perfect level of customer support. So this entitlement management helps the agent determine what kind of support a customer is eligible for. These entitlements are highly customizable. It also enforces a service level agreements with the customer. These service level agreements are nothing but SLAs, which is basically the agreement between us and the customer, which determines the level of the customer they are enrolled, level of the support they are enrolled for. So there are these are managed in entitlement management through the SLAs, entitlement managements, and service contracts. So this entitlement is basically is a one which determines whether a customer is eligible for support or not. The units of the entitlements may be like phone support, web support, etc. Next is the service contract. The service contract represent different kinds of customer support agreements like warranties, subscriptions, or maintenance agreement, etc. The service contracts are used to add or restrict some specific products from the support. Next is entitlement process. The entitlement process is a feature in entitlement management. So this is the place where we will be building the solution design. This includes all logics that is required for the agent to fulfill to complete a service request. So it includes all steps which are timelines time dependent, and that must be complete by a service support agent to resolve a to resolve support records such as case or work orders. After configuring this entitlement process, the entitlement records can be accessed from the entitlement tab or from the related list of the account contact assets or service contract. So next is the support object. The entitlement management are set up in such a way that the customer support eligibility is determined by or based on one or more objects. So the supported objects are account, contact, assets, service contract, contract line item, etc. If a customer support eligibility is based on account object, it means any contact on that account is eligible for the support. If the customer eligibility for support is based on contact, the specific contact is eligible for support. If a customer are eligible for a support based on asset, then the customer can gain support on the specific asset, that is the product they purchased. Next is service contract. The customer are eligible for support based on service contract, which means the agreement contract between the customer and the provider. So next is the contract line items. Here, the customer can gain support on the specific products covered as part of the service contract. Among these, the simplest approach is to determine the support eligibility based on account. So next comes the entitlement models. There are three general ways to set up entitlement management. The choice can be made by determining what should determine the support eligibility and what is our business need. So we have three models: entitlement only, entitlement plus service contract, entitlement plus service contract plus contract line items. This entitlement only is the simplest approach. Here, the support agent will determine whether a customer is eligible for support at the account, contact, or asset object level itself. In this approach, there is no need for renewal process, and it need not be purchased separately. So it comes as a package of their product they purchased. Next is the entitlement plus service contract. The support agent determines whether a customer is eligible for support based on their service contract. In this module, the entitlements are purchased separately by the customer. It is not covered as part of the product they purchased. It is part of the service agreement. Here, the entitlement or renewed should be renewed, and then they should be maintained as part of the service contract. Next model is the entitlement plus service contract plus line item model. Here, the support agent will determine whether the customer is eligible for support based on the products that is covered in their service agreement. So in this model, you will use Salesforce for customer support as well as maintaining those service contract. The support team manages the service contract transactions, and warranty, subscriptions or other support products comes as a line item. Next is the milestone. So after creating entitlement process, we need to create milestones and add these milestones to those entitlement process. So basically milestone represents the time dependent steps in the support process and that are required in the entitlement process. So only by adding milestone, the entitlement process will get complete. So these milestones are like the resolution time or the response from the support agent. So these milestones are used to track whether the agent resolves the support records on time. These milestones can also be set to occur for reoccurrence. It can be set to occur only once or reoccurs whenever needed in the entitlement process till the entitlement process exits complete. And this milestone has actions. So these actions are time dependent actions, same as we have actions in workflows. These are the actions of the milestones. We have three types of actions, that is success action, warning action and violation action. Under these three actions we can create task, email, or a field updation can be done. That will be explained in the next slides. And next is the types of milestones. So the types of milestones is the one which determines the occurrence of the milestone inside the entitlement process. So the next types, actions, and following topics will be handled by Niveta.
Okay. Types of milestone occurrence. When creating a milestone, you must choose its recurrence type. There are three types of recurrence: no recurrence, indefinite, and sequential recurrence. As no recurrence milestone occurs only once on the support record, and the start time is when the milestone criteria met the record. For example, the first response to the customer is sent via email. This can be a part of no recurrence milestone. Indefinite milestone. Indefinite milestone occurs whenever the milestone criteria matches the criteria. The start time is when the milestone criteria are met on the record, regardless of when a previous occurrence was complete. Only one occurrence of an indefinitely recurring milestone can be active at a time. For example, a response to the customer or a task creation is as a part of the milestone. Sequential milestone. Sequential milestone occurs repeatedly whenever the milestone criteria matches the record criteria. The first occurrence start date is time when the milestone criteria is met on the record. The future occurrence is the based on the criteria met start date and end date. Only one occurrence of a sequential recurring milestone can be active at a time. This type of milestone can be used in a complex creation of data. Milestones are supported in only specific objects like case, work orders, and incident. We need to add the parent support object as lookup for these objects. Milestone actions. Actions of a milestone are time-dependent workflow actions that occur on a milestone in an entitlement process. Actions can be added to a milestone after the milestone is added to an entitlement process. Actions of a milestone can be used to automate actions like new task, email, field update, and outbound messages. There are three types of actions: success action, warning action, and violation action. Success action is executed after a successful execution of a milestone. Example, if a task can be created with due date to resolve the case, we can send an email to the task owner. Warning action. The warning action is executed at a specific time before the violation of a milestone. Example, we can send a warning email to the user before the due date to resolve the case. Violation action. This action is executed after the violation of the milestone. If example, if the due date of the task is over and the case has not yet been resolved, we can send an email to the manager stating that the case has not resolved yet. Considerations of milestone action. Time trigger actions calculation do not account for a case milestone. Only a case milestone business hours. Field updates temporarily lock a case and can trigger automation such as case assignment rules and escalation rule. Field updates have a processing time limit of 10 seconds. A longer updates fail with an error. Reason for this type of failure includes updates to a field that's already logged or complex business logic that runs longer than 10 seconds. Warning and violation actions do not honor the business hours for the minutes, hours, or days before and after the milestone target date. These actions are converted into minutes on a 24-hour clock and do not use a business hours. Use case demo. Here we are going to see a demo on entitlement only model. As a part of the use case demo, we will enable the entitlement setting, add the fields to the case layout, add the related entitlement layout to account, add milestone component to the case layout, define entitlement and milestone, set up milestone, configure milestone action, and apply entitlement and milestone to a cases. So the initial part of the demo will be done by Santoshni. Santoshni.
Yeah. Now let's start configuring the entitlement process and milestone. For it, we have some prerequisite steps. The first is that we need to enable entitlement management for our org. For that, we need to navigate to the setup and search for entitlement setting. There, we need to enable this entitlement management option. So now the entitlement management is enabled for our org. Next is that we need to move to object manager, that case object. In the case object, we have an entitlement name field. We should give permission for visibility for that entitlement name field and also add that field to the layout. So this is the second prerequisite. So have given visibility to system admin profile. And next we need to add that to the case page layout. Case object, page layout. So to the page layout, we should drag and drop the entitlement name. Okay, this makes this entitlement name available on the case object. The next step is that to the same case object, we need to add the milestone tracker. For this, we need to navigate to the home, app builder, and from there you can open the case layout and drag and drop the milestone tracker component. From components, we can find this milestone tracker and we should drag and drop that to the case page layout. So the fourth step is that we need to add this entitlement to the account related list. So from account manager, account object, page layout, from page layout, related list, and we should add this entitlement to the related list. So here we can see the created entitlement record associated with an account. So basically an entitlement record must be associated with an account and a particular and a case created with this account only will enter into this entitlement process. So account, case and entitlement record three or must be interlinked. So next we are going to configure the entitlement process. So from setup entitlement process, search for entitlement process. Okay, from new entitlement process, you can create a new entitlement process. Here, we have already configured a process and we are going to show and we are going to demonstrate using that entitlement process. So here we have created an entitlement process named case support process. And then the entry criteria of this entitlement process is that whenever a case is created, the case can enter into this entitlement process. And when the case will exit this process, entitlement process is that whenever a case gets closed, the case will end exit this entitlement process. This two enter and exit criteria are customizable. Here we have choose created date. We can choose any date field in this option. So any date related field in the case object can be chosen here. And same applies for the exit also. Okay. So next is that now we have configured the um, entitlement process. The next steps are those we need to add milestone to this entitlement process and milestone criterias and etc. So for adding milestone to the entitlement process, first we need to create the milestone. So for creating milestone, same from setup milestone. And now we can see here we have customer initial response milestone is right. So we are going to see this milestone now same as new milestone, and this will allows you to give the name for the milestone and the recurrence type. We have, as we seen, we have three recurrence type, right? No, independent and sequential. So now we are creating a milestone with a no reoccurrence type. So for this entitlement process, we are going to create three milestones. One is customer initial response, other is the case escalation process, the other is the case closed process. So whenever the case enters into this entitlement process, the first milestone, it will check for the first milestone. Here, the first milestone start time is that whenever the record satisfies this milestone criteria, it is qualified. So the milestone criteria is that whenever a case is new and its priority is low, this milestone is eligible will start. And the time to execute for this milestone should be given in minutes, and it can be 3 days, 1 day, or 2 day. For demo purpose, we have given it as 1 minute. So in real time, we can have it as 3 days. So initially, when a case is created, this milestone will start running and it will show and it will start countdown for 3 days. So within 3 days, this case should be resolved. And after before 3 days, if that case is resolved and markers complete is checked on this page layout, as part of success action, an email alert will send to the customer saying your case has been resolved. Okay. If suppose after 3 days the case has not been resolved, then as part of violation action, a field update to the case will happen. The case status will update from low priority to high priority. Here we can also set to send email or task any actions, any four available four task, email and field update actions can be set in success action, warning action, or as part of violation action. In these three sections, we can set these four actions. So for now, as part of our use case, we have set it to changing the case priority to high. So next milestone is that. So then next milestone is that whenever the case status becomes high, this milestone will start. So now the case status is priority is high. So as part of success action, we are going to create a task. And then as part of warning action, before one here also it will be based on days count. For demo, we are just given minutes count. So just before 1 minute of the action to get violated, it will throw a warning sending an email alert. So next is the violation action. And after it violates, after the 3 minutes or 2 days, the specified time in the milestone got expired, it will send an email alert again and also update the case field. It will update the case status to escalated. and here is a case closed. In this milestone, here also it will be based on, if we are creating a case, and if the case milestone timeline is 10 days, after 10 days, if the case is closed, the success action will send an email alert. And then if we have configured violation warning and violation action, the warning and violation actions will take place. Here we are just sending the cases has been closed success email to the customer. So this is how we will configure the entitlement and milestone. So here we can, the order of this milestone determines the order at which it is executing. So for based on the order, once one milestone is completed, the next will get activated, and the time trigger can be of any days, but the days must be converted into minutes and should be added here. And the start time can be milestone criteria either, or it can be the criteria of the entitlement process itself. That all depends upon our business requirement. So the record creation of this configuration will be done by Niveta.
So, and once an entitlement process is activated, we cannot edit the milestone. So if we need to edit the milestone, we need to create a clone from the existing entitlement process, and again we need to modify the milestone. As you can see, we cannot delete or edit the milestone. So as part of the creation, we need to have an account linked to the case. So I'm creating an account record. And linking an entitlement record to the account record. So we need to give the start date, then only the status will be active, and we need to add the entitlement process to the entitlement record. Once this is done, we can start creating. You can see the status have been changed to active. So once this has been done, we can start creating cases and linking those cases to those account records. So as per my first criteria, the status should be new and the priority should be low, and we should link the entitlement name to this account. Once the case is done, your milestone will be start running. So yes, you can see the first milestone is to has a task has been created, and stating this as case has created. If we didn't complete the milestone within the given time, and violation rule will be fired. We'll wait for a few seconds to the violation to fire. We can see the changes over here in the all updates, and we can see a field update over here. We are changing the priority from low to high. Once we mark as complete, the milestone will be completed. For demo purpose, I am not completing the milestone. Okay. As you can see, the violation has been fired. Once you refresh the page and look into it, the violation will be there. 1 minute power overdue this. So these time will be now as purpose of demo we are given in minutes. So it can be days or months based on our scenario. So here the violation has been fired. So you can see it here. Customer initial response violation has occurred. And once I see this record, you can see a violation has been created. And if I mark as complete, I will get an email stating that your response has been completed. Your case has been resolved. This is what we'll do. If again there's a scenario where the priority is high and the status has been escalated, and again a milestone will be created. The case escalation process has been started. So this time given us 2 minutes. Before 1 minute, and warning message will be sent to the user. Once if I complete the mark as completed, the success action will be executed. If I didn't mark as complete, then the violation and the warning action will be executed. Once all the milestone are completed, here there will be no milestone shown here. Yeah. See, I have received a warning email stating that you have less time to complete the case, so start work on the case. So if I come, then a violation rule will fire after the seconds have been moved. Yeah. Just need to do hard refresh to see the violation. So the as per the milestone, the case escalation will occur, violation will occur 1 minute after the thing, and we'll have an field update and an email alert to the user. So the case has been violation has occurred. So the status has been changed to escalated, and I have received an email that my case has been escalated. So please start working on the case. So once I mark as complete, the milestone will be completed. And that's it. That's a part of the demo. This is how the milestone will be working.
The next is the limitations of the Okay, the next is the limitations of the entitlement process on the milestone. So every entitlement process must be associated with an account. Only then a associated case can be created and then case can enter into this entitlement process. And when it comes to an org can has thousands of entitlement process. And when it comes to an entitlement process, a single entitlement process can have up to 10 milestones. And this entitlement process will not automatically apply to a cases that are created from web to case or email to case. For those, we need to follow different steps that says automatic updation for web to case or email to case. That is a different chapter. And then the actions of the milestones are time based and it can execute some minutes before the target date. For say if you are setting that violation should be happen 0 minutes after the violation, it can occur before the case is before the time. It means at the zeroth moment or before the zeroth moment. So these are the limitations of this entitlement process and milestones. Any questions? Yeah, thank you, team. If there is no questions, I think we can wrap up.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, team. Thank you for joining.